Welcome back to the European LCS Spring Quarterfinals. Unicorns of Love have brought this best of 5 to match point and are 1 game away from sending Gambit out and qualifying for the semi-finals to take on SK Gaming. And you have to think momentum's with them.
For sure. I mean, Gambit have done well in the early game. And then for some reason, as soon as we hit like 12, 13 minutes, it seems to just stop. And they make these over-aggressive plays that get caught out by the likes of a Morgana, which obviously is going to be the big talking point here. Should they ban it, or should they just leave it to be first pick for the Unicorns?
Well,
while the pick has been super, super important, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them ban it away, it's not been because of Morgana they're losing.
Yeah.
It's because of their own mistakes and Unicorns being so good at punishing them and not just landing bindings left and right, because it's all over the map. The Unicorns are doing so well to get back in the game.
Well, we'll find out if Unicorns can close it out. Just a quick reminder to everybody at home, the Challenger Series finals will be next Wednesday. That is April 8th. They'll be on our stage right behind us. Tickets are available. And if you live in and around the area, come check out the show. If you watch the Challenger Series finals, you will actually get the Challenger RE skin for attending the event live here in our studios. lolesports.com/tickets for all of the information. All of the LCS guys are going to be there. We're going to be watching. We'll be on the analyst desk with Stress and Pulse bringing the action. I'm looking forward to it because Xpeke and Soaz and Amazing are playing and are the heavy favorites to make it back into the LCS.
Yeah, they're going to 3v5 apparently.
Well,
the last two.
Hey, Niels is pretty legit
Niels
too.
and Mythy.
Niels is pretty legit.
Right.
Mythy, I'm less impressed by.
Let's see.
Calling you out.
Wow.
But that's next week. Shall we get back to this game and see if Morgana makes it through?
No,
it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
There is the ban. So there are two new bans.
Dexter is making it very clear that he's in agreement with the Morgana ban.
But let's see what's going to happen here for the Unicorns. Will they first pick the Maokai now and take it away from Gambit and Caposhot? It was such an important pick in game 1 for the strategy. Obviously, Caposhot has a massive champion pool. He played like 10 different champions during the split and will for sure have something ready against it. But this is 2 new bans from Gambit, so they target this long-range comp. And this pick, or this ban here, honestly, we're somewhat expecting it because he's been so annoying and so good at shutting down the Rek'Sai pick from Diamond. He hasn't really had too much of an impact because Kick has been there to counter-gank him and just slap him in the face and walk away every time.
Oh dear, Gambit removing it from the game, completely changing their pick ban strategy. Cassiopeia and Annie are the 2 champions that have been banned in every other match that were removed from Unicorns. They've not opted for either and instead prioritized the Maokai. So this is the first drastic change all series long.
And now also Nidalee being left open for the first time, but you can still go Rek'Sai here if you want to match some of the early aggression for the Unicorns of Love. And they're getting Jinx now for Pinoy, a guy who's honestly not been performing this series here. He's been caught too many times by Hylissang, and I would not be surprised to see Thresh coming in for him. Somewhat the same deal. The problem is you lack a Black Shield, which obviously is very, very good against these big tanks trying to CC your carries.
The one thing I do like about the Thresh lock-in is not only do you deny that from Edward, who's played it 8 times in the regular season, but you also remove that big safety lantern from Jinx.
Yeah.
Pinoy's been out of position all series long, and now the biggest safety partner for Jinx has been secured for Hylissang. Keep in mind he is 0-4, so Hylissang looking
Can
for
still
his
go Janna though.
first win. I don't know, I always prefer Jinx just for the safety factor. But yes, you are right. Eddie has played Janna all series.
Yeah.
And Bardag's going back to Sivir once more.
That should offer enough peel for the Jinx pickup. So Gambit ran a comp like this, or at least the start of this comp, against Elements, where it's built around fast pushing that Ezreal mid lane for Betsy in that comp simply because of the attack speed buff he adds in, the extra poke, the long range, the Truce of Barrage to obviously focus on the side lanes as well, so they can build somewhat the same comp and run this fast pushing long range poke as well from them. Let's see what they decide to lock in. For now, there's no disengage with the Janna, and we have seen obviously Nautilus quite a few times in the support role. Not from Eddie, but from other supports.
Definitely the case. Lemonation, the most prolific fan, I think is fair. Spamming it, talking about it excessively, and it will be in Eddie's hands this time round. Not the same sort of hook city we're used to seeing on Thresh and Blitz. Caposhot on the Hecarim, and let's see, Power of Evil, what is he going to opt to play?
Well, he has no... Well, he still has Orianna from game 2, so that's fine for him if he still wants to go for these late game carries here. He doesn't know the mid lane pick. Orianna is fantastic and safe in there, especially also with the Athene's buffs here on 5.6. It is still a very slow scaling champion, which did hurt them in game 1. This is very different, however, now if he goes for Syndra, where we're gonna get a lot more lane pressure for the Unicorns, and they have a setup.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Shaco is locked in for the first time in 2015. The craziness is continuing. And Power of Evil on his signature Syndra.
I don't want to be Betsy in this game, because from level 2, you're gonna get camped by a Syndra and a Shaco, which can destroy you so easily. He's gonna need a safe mid laner here against Power of Evil. I didn't expect to see Shaco today. Like, we're talking so much about Cinderhawk tanks and everything, and now we get the complete opposite. Pure early game control, potential split push late game as well from Kikis. Such a high risk, high reward champion for them to pick. I mean, sure, they're 2-1.
If anybody's gonna pull it off,
right,
it is Kikis. And you know, we said this earlier, when Kikis played Nidalee the first time, he picked up first blood within 3 minutes just by making great use of her aggressive play. He is a guy that can do it. He won with Jungle Twisted Fate last year.
I agree, yeah.
I think this version of Kikis is the most successful. Obviously, he's in the quarterfinal.
If there's anything I've learned,
let's see what he can do.
In this meta is there's no bad picks. All of them can find some way of being useful. Now, this obviously here means for the Unicorns they have a fantastic mid-game, a fantastic mid lane in terms of the ganking potential, the setup from a Syndra. That's also why Ezreal comes in. We also talked about how it works with Nidalee and Jinx for this fast push. So Gambit somewhat running what they did against Elements. Basically what you do is you have the Jinx at a tower, you heal her with the Nidalee, you W her with the Ezreal, and she just melts your tower completely. So if you don't have proper wave clear to deny it, your towers will go down. They have Sivir and Syndra though from Unicorn, so they have good wave clear. But that's why you play around the Maokai instead from Gambit's side here. I expect them to swap and start pushing down that tower in the top lane. And then once the first tower is gone, then start swapping around the map and try and play away from where the Syndra is, away from where the Sivir is, so they can always fast push the towers. And obviously, deep wards are going to be so important now against the Shaco. Otherwise, he's going to just jump in from behind and kill you in the lane. Man, I don't want to be Bitsy now.
Gambit played exquisitely when they played the map against Elements in week 8.
Yes.
It was the match that had the difficulties, but they played it perfectly. And tower after tower after tower fell. This time around, UOL would have watched that game, would have prepared it coming in. We'll see whether or not the Sivir-Syndra combo will be enough to deny that fantastic map-based play.
Yeah, they do have a lot better mid-game than Elements ran. Elements had like Kassadin and a Jinx, if I remember correctly. It was Illusion, sorry, Illusion. Then had the Kassadin in the mid lane who did nothing because he needed so much time to scale. He had no wave clear.
Yeah.
And that's what Gambit used to simply just take down towers. Wherever Froggen was sitting on Kassadin, tower would die. This game, they won't be able to do the same. A lot better mid-game from Unicorns of Love with Syndra in that mid lane with the Shaco as well, who's also having a pretty decent late game in terms of the damage he can deal, especially in a split push if he gets to use his clone.
Fantastic split push opportunity. Just to give you guys a heads up, Diamond's PC does need to just quickly reconnect. I'm not sure if they're swapping it out. We'll get clarification on that in a second. That's the serious note. As a joke, his PC doesn't even want to play against Shaco, because let's be frank, nobody does. Whenever you see a Shaco in game, it's always one of those things where your Shaco is 0-6 and their Shaco is 6-0. They always...
Okay, that's true.
Look, everybody's laughing, but it's true. They know what I'm talking about. For everybody that hates solo queue Shacos, see, that's a clap.
Here's the thing, though, about this pick. It's still, when you play against Shaco, if you manage to stop him, first of all, from getting a great start way with the boxes, and he gets like a quick red buff and he invades on your red buff, if you can avoid that, so like if Kiki starts, if they manage to scout where Shaco is starting and he starts on the same side, he avoids that, you know, somewhat cheesy. You do your red buff, you walk over to the enemy red buff, and you just wait for him there and you kill him. You can avoid that if you start on the same side. If they manage to spot him, that is. You can also go in and try and stop the boxes. That's a little bit more risky. The first few ganks are going to be super important for Kikis, because he is still a champion. If he wants to become a late game split pusher, he needs to get kills early on. He doesn't farm well enough to just sit like a Udyr, for instance, who just sits there and gets 100 CS easily.
He got early kills on Udyr.
Yeah, sure, I'm just saying.
If he can, surely in theory the option's there.
I love Kikis. I love the things he's bringing, and I hope it works, because it's a new pick and it's fantastic to see, but it's such a high-risk, high-reward champion.
Well, I would set my sights on the lane wherever Pinoy is. He's been out of position. He's on an immobile AD carry. He's got no safety.
I would go top lane where there's a heck room with no flash, and I have a Maokai who clicks W and says, ha.
So look at this one. There's 2 options now.
They are.
So
I would also go mid lane when Syndra is there and she stuns the
early game
and
again. Early game again could determine this game.
Very much.
In the previous games, while UOL did not necessarily win early game, Gambit did not necessarily in games 2 and 3. I mean now, Gambit did not necessarily win so heavily that the game was there, theirs to control. So for UOL, we'll see what they can do, because there's scaling options on both sides, just in very different ways.
Yeah, and just very different setup from the Unicorns, with Morgana being banned away and Agazudi as well. So a few new bans from Gambit. This is no longer a full late game poke composition. No, this is very much mid-game focused, a lot of burst damage coming from the mid lane, and of course the Shaco, who has to fight these skirmishes. Don't really want to go run into a straight team fight where there's a chance you get locked down, unless again you get the flank on the AD carry and you manage to destroy him, because the Jinx is not going to run anywhere.
Exhaust smite on that Shaco. We'll see what he decides to itemize.
Split pushing.
All day long. Guys, just another update. As we said already, Diamond's PC is actually being swapped out, so the game has loaded up. We've paused it at the moment. And the moment that Diamond is on a working machine, we'll be back into this game, which could be the last of the European quarterfinals. Don't go anywhere, because afterwards we will be seeing Gravity taking on Team Impulse in the North American quarterfinals.
Yeah,
but
the games
with,
yesterday.
With some luck, we'll make them wait, because with some luck, Gambit can win this one and get us to game 5.
But then Shaco lose.
I'll admit, that's fine. I don't mind Shaco losing. I don't like Shaco.
Well, you should.
No, I don't. I like Kikis. I don't like Shaco. I'm going to lay it out there, be honest.
Okay. Wow, harsh words.
Look, no, it's just,
I think it's fantastic fun to look at.
So is Kikis.
They're looking very focused. Obviously, you're not allowed.
It's a difficult situation to be in. This is a difficult situation to be in. You come into the very last game. If anything, extra time to think about how you handle this Shaco pick.
Yeah, the problem for Gambit is,
it?
so Gambit obviously after the last game, they went out backstage, they talked and said, okay, why are we losing? Some of these new picks here is annoying us. Not new picks, but at least some of these picks are very annoying. So let's ban them away and try and hope for more standard maybe from the Unicorns of Love. And they got 4 very standard picks. We've seen Vardax play Sivir multiple times. We know Power Viva is a Syndra player. And then Kik is like, nah, it's not going to be too easy. And he throws in a completely new pick, which you obviously have no practice against. And now you got to rely on your solo queue experience of saying, how do I counter Shaco normally in solo queue? And use that in Shaco, sorry, not Shaco. Shaco is the Danish version.
I'm going to tell you now, if it is officially Shaco or officially Warwick or Warwick, I'm afraid I'm going to call it Shaco. Everyone will know. Let us know, guys. Hit us up on Twitter for potentially last time. Who do you think will book their ticket to Madrid, Spain with the help of the Clown, or if Gambit will bounce us back and force us to Game 5 at LOL Esports, hashtag UOL win, hashtag GMB win. And also if you call it Shaco or Shaco, let us know that as well. As we are into game, the first box is down, it's a defensive one.
So, Gambit, we expected him to get some deep wards in here, try and spot where the Shaco is starting.
Oh, are we gonna do that? Okay.
Well, I said it the Danish version before, like Shaco.
I've only ever known it as Shaco.
Shaco.
Well, the box is down. Advantage Gambit. Where is Kikis for the moment?
Starting on the bottom side. So just by having these wards here, if they place him just around now on the walls on the Grom, they're gonna see if he's setting it up. Well, they got the one on Grom, that's the important one at least. So they're gonna see he's starting on the bottom side. And Gambit might look for a lane swap in this situation. We mentioned how they want to use Jinx to fast push down a tower. So that's why they want to potentially swap her. But you also want to make sure that Diamond gets a safe start, where there's not a red buff Shaco standing at level 2 killing you.
Lots of wards from Gambit, as you've highlighted. Pinoy and Edward waiting to move to lane. They're going to move with the minions, but obviously be fully spotted. They're going to head themselves into the 2v2 lane. Shaco is clearing out those
Diamond starting on red side. Kikis, when he played Twisted Fate at IEM San Jose, did his own red buff, and he rushed straight into the jungle of Team Solo Mid. Might not have been that game. I think of something else. But there's one of those games where he just did the red buff. And then he rushed straight into the enemy blue buff and he caught out whatever jungler it was and killed him at IM San Jose. He might look to do exactly the same here because Diamond is starting on the top side. They obviously don't know because they didn't have a ward on the blue buff. They just saw that there was no pull, at least from the bottom lane of Gambit, as they spotted them on the ward here. Diamond is rocking to his blue buff. Let's see what Kikis wants to do.
Keep an eye. He was clearing out that red buff. Level 2 at that point into 2 Shift Poison. We'll have access to Deceive in a moment or
Gambit has a good ward as well to try and spot him in the river.
Smart play against the Shakers of the world that like to hide in a bush and kill you when you're low. Nidalee, though, is at relatively good clear speed and sustain. Starting on this blue buff. And that ward just timed out. So relatively safe in the knowledge that Kikis was not pushing into his jungle. And we are going to see head-to-head lanes. Once again, a little bit of a farm lane in the middle. But this time around, Power of Evil maybe with slightly more opportunity to bully Betsy.
Oh, way more. Way more on this Syndra for him. And obviously Ezreal is not going to offer a whole lot of damage or a lot of pressure for Gambit in his mid lane. He's mainly just a farm champion. But it's fine because, again, the comp is built around being able to rotate the Jinx in and out of the lanes and then push down these towers. It's the whole setup for them. You can also do it just with the Nidalee. But Hylissang, he's on another champion that can land some skill shots and pull in targets. No Black Shield this time around, which is going to be the difference for him. Let's see if Pinoy can dodge around in this lane, because it's been the big problem. All 3 games, he's been caught and he's been killed.
Hylissang and Vardags, the ones that have pushed the wave up first, way more wave clear early. And Diamond, once again, trying to hang out in this top lane, but the wave is too far pushed. There's no opportunities. Instead, he's going to set him sights on that Scuttle Crab. Edward, dredge lines in, does get the slow onto Hylissang, but unable to get more. And Hylissang catches the minion. Hey, it's still 100% hit. Still 100% hit.
So I like what Diamond has done here. We talked about how Hecarim has no flash, and that would be a fairly easy gank for Kikis. Notice how he's invested a lot of his early vision on the top side of the map, and also he's staying around it to see if a gank should happen, and then he can go for the counter gank. He's always around Capushot here on the Hecarim. That was a mistake Unicorns made in game 1, where they just left the Hecarim on his own, and he got camped by Diamond multiple times. Killed and ended up doing absolutely nothing.
Kikis is yet to back, sitting on 1,000 gold.
He's just expecting that gank.
Smart play by Kikis, taking advantage. Ooh, a little low, but pretty greedy start. Death Sentence goes wide. Edward sidesteps it, keeping the minions away from the tower as long as possible. And finally, Pinoy's going to keep farming, so no advantages gained either way. Very, very early Moby Boots there for Kikis. Let's see what he can do around the map. Previously went for Boots of Swiftness on Udyr as an early buy. This time around, Moby Boots. Death Sentence connects onto Pinoy, as does the Boomerang Blade. That's a 2-man flay, and Hylissang gets rooted. Next up, Vardags. Pinoy in full retreat. Summoner Heal was traded in exchange for Summoner Exhaust, and Hylissang showing he can connect with Death Sentences as well as Dark Binding.
That's the thing. You ban Morgana, but you give him Thresh, another champion he's so good on when it comes to landing skill shots. He's been one of the best players today, forcing Pinoy back now, or at least he actually recalled, or he cancelled it, sorry, because Diamond is now down his bottom lane.
Well, let's see what they can do. Diamond looking to get in range. No mana on Edward. Death Sentence actually connects, and Vardags even able to spell shield up.
That opens up for Kikis now. They saw Diamond on the bottom lane. Look what Kikis is doing now. Top side. Can they lock down Capushot? They will. Let's see what Kikis can do onto him. The exhaust is already used.
Capushot's in trouble. He's going to get taken down. First blood to the Unicorns of Love.
But that's it. I mean, you have no flash. And as soon as Diamond shows himself, because his bottom lane is in problems, he has to go down there and help them. And then Capushot gets ganked and gets killed. So simply by, again, Unicorns of Love doing well in the 2v2 lane, they set up such an easy gank for Kikis.
And it works out in their favor. Kikis on that Shaco, working in his favor. Got a confirmation from our stats guys. That's the 71st. There are now 71 champions, unique, that have been picked or banned 2015 in the LCS. That is a very large number. We're seeing more and more. 5.4, 5.5, 5.6 patches are bringing so much excitement.
Yeah, but no Swain.
Doesn't
even matter.
Makes you very sad. Take a look at that. Hylissang and Vardax joining Kikis in the Dragon Pit.
He played Swain, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. It all matters. In EU LCS, sorry, it's not been played.
True Shot Barrage, is it going to steal? That is the question. The answer is no. Got me excited for nothing. Unicorns, early Dragon, early First Blood, and early advantage. This Kikis deceives his way away. Despite having Exhaust, also got Skirmisher Saber. So if there was ever an indication that he wanted to battle, duel, and fight in split push way, he's definitely got the skill set to do so.
Yeah, you can't really do a whole lot else on a Shaco. Your poke is not the greatest. Just run up and E people. They're like, ha, great. Diamond, though, has now realized I need to be around Kappa Shot, otherwise he's gonna die again. So he's back on the top side. Didn't have any wards to place in the jungle. That's what Gambit needs against the Shaco. You have to get deep wards in so you can spot him before he moves to the lanes, because he has so many different ways of starting a gank, and it's so hard to ward around the lanes. Just spotting like that small ward you see on the top side in the bush near the river is not gonna stop Kikis from getting into the top lane. You can even just deceive over the wall and yourself, and the ward won't see you to get into the lane itself. So Gambit needs deep wards against him.
I'll see if they can get them down. It's pronounced Shaco, not Shaco. That's how I read it. That's how you're making me read it. That's how I read it. Or Shaco, not Shaco. Why is everyone trolling us today? Meteos.
I don't know.
He's going to chime in. That's a box actually used, as is on the hunt. Vardax is going to spell shield the root, and Edward forced to flash away. Death sentence from Hylissang almost costing Edward his life. And look at the item difference. This time around, it's Vardax with the BF sword and the additional AD. I really wanted to highlight very quickly, no boots yet for Diamond versus the Moby boots of Kikis. To Fisher, you're talking on how Diamond has to respond to the counter gank, so be around the threat of a Shaco gank. It's so much harder when he's got all of that mobility and the deceive to hop over every single wall.
Well, the thing is, as long as you live in his jungle, it's fine. And if you're strong enough to duel him, oh, let's see, TP in the bottom lane. Pinoy, my friend, you're on your own.
Well,
and just to make it worse, we had to see a hook land as well.
not a whole lot Pinoy could do about that one. Full knowledge Edward had backed thanks to the death sentence earlier. And that's actually super decisive play from the Unicorns. There was no minions under that turret. The TP from Chachi kept that last little guy alive. And they punish, get a kill on the board, get the first tower on the board, and set themselves up with a small advantage.
I hate to be the grumpy one, but I don't think that was worth it.
Okay,
You're already winning your bottom lane, and you will slowly push down that tower anyway. So I don't see why you have to surrender your top tower to make that play, to get one kill and TP as well, which is now in favor of Gambit. Yes, you got a first blood, that was great, but you also traded a top tower, which you could have defended fairly easily. So I guess you can argue, was it good?
We will find out.
Depends on what the next play is gonna be, but you were already winning that bottom lane pretty hard, and you already got to get it in. Wow, that's a lot of damage.
Big hit, but True Shot Barrage used to push the wave down. Gambit, they are the ones that have grouped up. Another Javelin toss connects Death Sentence onto Diamond as the minions get dropped, and Diamond forced to flash away. Doesn't matter what Hylissang plays today, he will connect with those skill shots. And the fans once again behind the Shaco of Kikis and the Unicorns of Love, 74%.
Power of Evil onto Betsu, forcing a flash.
Two quick flashes in that middle lane.
Does have a CS lead, obviously, on the Syndra, but what Gambit is looking to do now is once you got this top tower, you open up the lane for the Hecarim to push it all the way down and then roam from the top lane to the mid lane where they can set up a very simple siege. The problem is they're losing this mid tower, so now they, funny enough, still need deep wards. The problem is when you lose your mid tower, you don't have anywhere safe to run if you're hitting the enemy tier 1 tower. So you suddenly need, for more than one reason, the deep wards in the jungle here to spot the engage coming from the Unicorns so you can run away in time and you don't have to rely on this tower, which is now dead for you. So this really opens up the map for the Unicorns to get in. That obviously, or that could have been the reason for them going for that TP play to kill Pinoy with 4 guys, even though they could most likely done with 3 as well. But going for that play, just get that outer turret down, then the mid lane, and you suddenly open up the entire map.
We'll see what they decide to prioritize. We did see Kickus backing, grabbing himself a pickaxe and longsword. I was looking at the items. He actually very quickly picked up a rejuvenation bead before deciding to sell that and grab the wards instead. So
Tiamat and Brutalizer.
gonna get himself so much more damage. Behind in CS to Diamond. Diamond spent a good amount of time in his jungle.
And this again here. So this again now falls back to the play they just made before where they forced that tower down. Is because Dragon isn't up yet, they're already winning the mid lane. They can now swap Vardax and Hylissang to the top lane and start pushing down on the next one. Hecarim doesn't have enough wave clear to stop them from dealing damage to the tower. Kickus is nearby. You don't have TP on Visichachi, so there's a play to be made here for Gambit, but they gotta make it now, otherwise this tower is going down. So clearly the Unicorns feel like by fast pushing down the towers, that was worth more than obviously saving that TP from Chachi beforehand to get the kill on the bottom lane. And this is just a very nice play, suddenly making the play before very worth it for them. 2,000
gold lead as we hit 13 minutes on the clock. 20 seconds before the next Dragon. Infinity Edge completed for Vardags. Luden's Echo completed for Power of Evil. A lot of item spikes that's going to work into their favor. Contrast that to Cabashard. He's just sitting on home guard boots for the time being. Teleport is available, but Chachi is in place for this next Dragon bout. And it looks like that's where Unicorns are going to set their sights. Hylissang, he's way forward, connects with a death sentence onto Edward, follows it through with the secondary, puts the box down in the middle of the jungle, and Edward is in full retreat. Kickus down to 100 HP, less down. It was actually the clone. Even I got baited by that one. And Pinoy so close. Now Unicorns, they are low. Kickus.
Cabashard is going to have home guard and TP, and yeah, with these low members, if he managed to engage correctly, Gambit can still turn around this fight. Betsy's on full HP. It's a TP.
Well, there we go. He's jumped forward, caught 3 people with the onslaught of shadows. Cabashard continues to run forward. Ignite is burning away. Power of Evil is down, and the Dragon has been stalled out. Gambit now set their sights on that objective. Can they secure it? Kickus and the rest of Unicorns looking to engage. Kickus does go over with the Deceive, but unable to get the smite. Not even used there, I don't think. Gambit able to get their first objective and their first kill after a teleport home guard engage.
That was also despite being behind in terms of items. If you look at the carries, Luden's Echo had already been completed for Power of Evil. Infinity Edge for Vardax that was not ready from Pinoy here. So the carries were slightly behind from Gambit and still managed to win the fight. Obviously the Shaco here is not the greatest team fight in the world. And that's going to be a big deal. Not that Nidalee is herself, but she's going to add a lot of poke inside of Gambit. And with this Tiamat being completed and Brutalizer later, we're going to get a lot of wave clear coming, a fast pushing ability, I think we should say instead, from Kickus, which obviously is going to be the goal for him, become a split pushing threat. Just the fact he has his ulti quickly makes it a 2v1 fight.
So 15 minutes have gone by, 1,000 gold. Unicorn still marginally in the lead. The tower pushing comp that Gambit put together has not been able to push towers. Well, so let's see if they can scale themselves up. Unicorns, an aggressive play worked in their favor and they just steamrolled ahead.
Yeah, that's very true. And no real focus on getting wards in the jungle of the Unicorns of Love. Almost at any given time for Gambit has made it very hard for them to move around on the map. And as we mentioned earlier, when this mid tower is gone, you can still group on in the mid lane, but it's just so much harder for you to do because you have nowhere to run. If you get engaged on now by the Unicorns, you're not going to get back to your T2 tower in time. But they are doing the right play here. You see, Sheen has been completed for Betsy, so he's going to start doing a lot of damage on towers. Kickus is going to try and force them away.
Edward.
Quite some damage.
Threw out the dredge line, not able to connect to the champion, but Kick is able to, as you mentioned, put enough damage on a Betsy to push him backwards. Gambit playing defensively this game with a team comp that's not necessarily focused around team fighting or that mind. We'll see how they handle their mid game. It's been Gambit's engages in the previous matches that Unicorns were able to punish. They've got to be a little more careful about how they decide to bring themselves in this game. Because remember, one more win for Unicorns and they book their ticket to Spain. They book that battle with SK Gaming.
Oh, Kick is getting a warning, so I'm trying to jump on Pinoy. Diamond is nearby. see what's going to happen. Not a whole lot. And now Kickers, he's in trouble.
Well, let's see. Deceive, 5 seconds on the clock before he can jump away. Gets caught by the javelin toss, sidesteps the super mega death rocket, and the mark from Diamond's going to reveal the real Kickers. Javelin toss, one more can.
Oh, Lantern's on its way.
We do see the clone actually jumps in, and the Lantern to safety. Kickers manages to make it out. Smart pickup for that Thresh, especially if you're going to be roaming between lanes and letting Kickers try shove them out quickly. Hylissang can save Kickers over and over if he ever needs it, between the clone and the dashes and the deceives.
We just got a taste of what Unicorns wants to do here with the 1-3-1 setup. Kickers in one lane, obviously, Visichachi in the other one with the teleport, pushing them down. Gambit don't really have anyone who can stop it late game, but they have some good engage on the Nautilus, on the Hecarim to start the fights instead. And that's where Kickers won't be able to join. He obviously has 0 global presence as a jungler. So if he's sitting in a lane, if Unicorns doesn't play correctly, basically what's going to happen is if Kickers is pushing too far up his lane, or he's standing too far back in his lane, and the rest of the team is too far up in their own lane, Gambit will engage. That was a lot of small things. The point is, 1-3-1 against hard engage. If every lane isn't pushing at the same time, and you can take a tower on the other side of the map if someone is getting ganked or engaged on, then you're failing your 1-3-1. Because then it's way too easy for Gambit to respond, get a kill, force you to now reset your whole split push and back away, and therefore Gambit can then get into these team fights, can maybe get an objective and get some gold, which they need obviously to get on these 80 carries here. So we're gonna have to see if the Unicorns can play the 1-3-1 correctly. One guy staying too far back or staying too far up can stop your whole split push from happening and reward a kill to Gambit.
We will find out if Unicorns can control all of the lanes. Ravenous Hydra completed for Kickers, has yet to upgrade his jungle item, just sticking on that challenging smite.
Really putting so much focus on getting that AoE damage over a warrior enchant on the Shaco for him. He's just rushing towards it. He's back in his lane. Meanwhile, Dragon is spawning in about a minute's time. And you can see how Unicorns are staying around it. They know that's going to be next objective.
Look at all 3 lanes to Fisher. You were touching how they had to be sort of in sync. And it does look like they are. Kickers has found the back of Cabo Shot. He's hallucinated himself and rushes forward. Has managed to push Cabo Shot away, but look at all of that damage. Really easy win. Keeps the tower under pressure. And will steal away jungle camps as well.
The ult is a big deal though, fast pushing down towers for Kickers here, so with that being on cooldown, it does open up for the hard engage.
That's a flash dredge on Hylissang is caught out of place. The depth charge threw him up in the air, and that was a spell shield on the super mega death rocket. Now Visichachi forced to flash over the Fame Chompers, and Diamond is a little out of position. We do see Unleashed Power's already been used, and the Javelin Toss is side stage. While all this is going on, Kickers is pushing the tower. Chachi gets caught by one more hook, and it's Betsy that takes him out. Dragon spawns in 4 seconds, but is a risky play. If Gambit decide to stick around, no mana on Power of Evil, they're traded a kill for a tower.
Yeah, that took a little bit longer for Gambit to get the kills than they had hoped for. They just wanted to blow up one target and then get back and defend against Kickers here while still be able to take the Dragon with 4 members against 3 of the Unicorns of Love. But that didn't happen because they managed to disengage at first. Not sure if there was a Lantern from Hylissang doing quite some work. And also this mid lane tower now taking a lot of damage. So Gambit invested way too much into one kill by losing 2 towers for it. It was a good play to make, but you gotta blow up that one target instantly then, so you can recall and defend.
Did not happen. Unicorns get 2 towers, despite losing a Dragon and a kill. So, gonna be in a happy position. I did see the True Shot Barrage trying to snipe somebody off. It didn't work out, but, you know, the Shaco,
yeah,
the decision-making in the strats, Unicorns are executing it well.
And that's where you saw how powerful it is when you have such a strong split pusher. Because he was at the tower already, he'd already pushed the lane up. Had he been stuck, let's say at his own tier 2 or tier 1 tower, Gambit could have made that play, engaged, got the kills, recalled in time to even catch the wave and not even take any damage on the tier 2. That's why it's so important that these lanes are being pushed up and you have proper warding as well in the jungle, so you can see if anyone is coming for any gank, so you can react on the other side of the map in time.
Well, it makes a lot of sense talking about warding. The Unicorns have upgraded 3 of their trinkets to the yellow trinkets and got themselves Sightstone on the support, so going to be trying to get as many wards around the map once again to allow mobility. We did see Power of Evil. He'd been sitting on a Fiendish Codex and a blasting one for a very long time. He's just completed his second sort of big ticket item, the Morella Nomicon. Gonna use that to spam out those Dark Spheres over and over. Gambit pushing the middle lane. They do not have Pinoy. He seems to be relegated to bottom lane defense. As you can see, Kikis has finally upgraded his warrior enchant.
Kikis is free to do whatever he wants. There's no TP for Cabochard. They're gonna need that. He does back away because Gambit is moving through the jungle. As long as you, the Unicorns of Love, keeps the lane pushed up and get 2 or 3 wards in the jungle of Gambit, they should be able to spot every single play they're trying to make on Kikis and give him enough time to escape. He has a ward here. Diamond is staying on the other side of the wall. That's a nice little play.
Let's see if he can win the trade. The hallucinated clone is running Diamond down. He's even recruited the Gromp to help out.
Now he's killing it.
Gonna be able to take that clone
Horrible
out.
boss.
The one thing we're going to keep our eye on is that True Shot Barrage. It could become very important to help managing the split push of Kikis. It's not going to kill an entire wave, but could at least reduce the effective pushing power. Diamond, again, still looking for a fight. Does land the Javelin toss, gets instantly feared, takes out 2 Jacks in the boxes. And Kikis is just pulling the aggro. He's pulling the attention of
And then you look at the
Gambit.
mid lane. 3 guys pushing up the mid lane because they know there's 2 people on the bottom side. And as long as these lanes are being pushed, UOL can keep moving around the map and always have a numbers advantage because nobody can one-on-one the Shaco from them. Kikis, this guy's been pulling out some crazy picks in this series in the past. For now, it's really working for him and the Unicorns.
Teleport not available for Cabochard. 15%, or rather 25% of its cooldown just ticked by. Gambit have been able to stall out that last period of pushing. There was no inner turret on the top or middle to push. So Unicorns, their only remaining lane turret is in this bottom lane. And I think Gambit, well aware of that one, invested some wards, invested attention. So yes, Kikis was pulling the aggro, but it's also the only non-inhibitor turret left for them to push.
And it's going to be a lot harder for the Unicorns to keep split pushing once this last tier 2 is gone. That's where you have to break into the base, and it's very easy for Gambit to move the short distance here between the lanes and defend against the Shaco and of course against the other members in the mid lane from the Unicorn. So that's where they have to play more around the Baron later on. But for now, goal is still this tier 2 tower. Varlex managed to get the red buff for himself. Leviathan, he doesn't care.
Yeah, focus looks
You
from
can
the
take
coaches.
that red buff.
Focus looks from those coaches. Sheepy, while in the stronger position, still needs to get ahead. Kikis gets caught out a little bit, but it's actually the damage on a Cabochard significantly higher. That bonus damage from hitting the pony in the back and Ravenous Hydra. Kikis, honestly, is going to need way more than a Hecarim to handle this jungler.
All Gambit can do right now is just damage control. You stay back, you try and defend your tower for as long as possible, and then you wait for the entire map to reset. You wait for Unicorns to go back and buy. And you can see the lanes now being built up. And that's where you can make a play before the Kikis wave is being pushed down to your tower with the TP home guard from the Hecarim. Before that, it's really hard for you to do anything.
Oh, Death Sentence onto Diamond. He's down before the teleport can complete. Cabochard in full retreat, but he onslaughts back in. Does manage to fear Power of Evil. Where is the rest of the team, though? In comes Edward and Pinoy, trying to get some damage down, but Cabochard is out. We do see Betty landing a kill crit onto Vardax, and the True Shot Barrage is flying through. Kikis is taking the tower in the bottom lane, and despite some kills for Gambit, they lose the fight, they lose the tower. And he's going to try and interrupt Chachi. Actually, it's going to get turned around. Support comes in, forced to flash. Gambit, in what was a 5v4, lose, and they lose their last remaining inner turrets.
Such a tough situation to be in. You cannot even sit in your own jungle and do the Raptor camp. Then Unicorns can just walk down behind you. They have control of this jungle. Look at the wards they've placed already. Diamond has no business here. He shouldn't be in here on his own. I mean, that's an easy pick for them. And then Cabochard now blown that teleport. Meanwhile, look at your minimap. Shaco is just pushing on his own. And the rest of Unicorns of Love can trade 1 for 2, which is more than fine for them. Dragon has been taken as well now.
To be fair, Diamond was blown up so quickly at the beginning of the fight. It was a 4v4. Thanks to the fact that Diamond again was on the wrong side of his team. Think of his Rek'Sai performance from the previous match in the series. Diamond is trying to pull the attention of UOL straight too close to the danger zone, and got punished for it.
Yeah, but you can't do it when Shaco's already standing at your tower. That's again what they had to do, was wait for Unicorns of Love to, let's say, go dragon, take the dragon, go back and buy your items because you now farmed up a lot of gold. And then the whole map is reset. You can see the lanes, you can push them out. And before Shaco gets in position to hit your tower, you make a TP play with the Hecarim. And you get 1 or 2 kills. Like, you have to go for some of these risky plays now, and you use those kills to then get a Baron or get a tower or 2. And that's the way for you back in the game. If you wait till Shaco's already standing at your tower and you force a play somewhere, you have to basically win 4 for 0. Otherwise, it's not going to be worth it because Shaco is going to take your tower.
Well, Shaco went back, spent 2,600 gold, grabbed himself a Sheen, grabbed himself a Zeal. He's now got a 40 CS advantage over Diamond since UOL have controlled most of the map. And remember, coming out of the first 10 minutes, Kikis was in fact down 20 CS to Diamond's Nidalee. But he spent so much time in the lane, so much time pushing out those waves. A Rylai's third item from Power of Evil, if there was more indication that they wanted to drag out fights, slow people, survive,
Kite.
keep going as long as possible. Even the itemization is working in Unicorn's favor.
The longer they kite, the more damage Kikis will do to the base of Gambit. And as we mentioned now, that only the inhibitor turrets are left. It becomes harder for him to push unless a fight happens and Kikis is left on his own. You can see Pinoy can very easily move from the mid lane to the bottom lane to clear the wave before Kikis gets any damage in. And that's why Unicorns have to focus around the Baron now as well and have that option at least open where you might have to force Gambit out. Because there's 2 dragons for 2, so there's not going to be any 5th dragon.
For a while.
For a while. Gambit is going to have to just sit back and defend here. And if they do think there's a chance Unicorns are doing Baron, either you just give it up and you check it with the Ezreal ulti, or you walk out and you try and stop them there. But you need TP ready for Copper Shot before you really can do anything for Gambit.
You do hear on the hunt, Hylissang connected with Death Sentence. There's no more minions in this top tower. You do see the Lantern forcing Unicorns of Love there to back away. Vardax took a lot of damage. Super Mega Deathworker connects with the True Shot Barrage, goes way wide. Betsy unable to find another kill.
Oh,
keeps him alive again. All of a sudden, Diamond's the one that gets focused down from the unleashed power. Gambit trying to chase while all that's going on. Kikis has been able to trade back and forth. Cabochard was not with the team in that fight. Keep that in mind. Zap will connect onto Chachi, as will the Dredge line. And he manages to lantern away. The Death Sentence connects, and they turn it around.
Morgana,
Edward goes down. Hylissang is on fire. And the Unicorns of Love are not done yet. Kikis looks for Pinoy. He exhausts him, he smites him, he slams him, and that is so much damage. Power of Evil with his 3rd kill in a row in the top lane. Compliments of a gift-wrapped Shaco. Fantastic play from Unicorns. Looked scary, looked risky, but they got a bunch of kills. Don't lose anybody. 2 True Shot Barrages do not fly true on behalf of Betsy.
Unicorns are just showing what they can do in a best out of 5 series with new picks, new playstyles. I mean, how do you prepare for a pick like Shaco? You don't sit before the week and say, oh, they're going to play Shaco for sure. Here's what we should do. So you have to just simply figure out what to do on the fly. Now, the chasing on the Vardax here, Hylissang is just on fire. Like, everything he does is nearly perfect. Lands the hook, they disengage again, they keep kiting around. Kikis is fighting Copper Shard, but he's gonna run all the way from that bottom lane up to join his team. He has the Moby boots as well. Eddie thinks he gets a catch here on Chachi. Lantern comes in and then pulled right back into the team.
Unreal. I just can't get over the burst damage. He manages to jump right in there. Deceive. So there's the Smite, Exhaust, Ravenous Hydra. And even uses the Hallucinate to just get out of range. Oh. Fantastic, fantastic play from the Unicorns. It did not result in more towers, but it has increased their gold lead to 5,000. Given enough gold to Power of Evil to get another needlessly large run. He's 5-1. And his most played, most successful champion.
Yeah, Rylai's is normally not a great item in this early in the game for Syndra, because again you delay some of your core items like the Death Cap, like the Void Staff. But in this situation where all they're doing is kite, then it fits into the comp. They do have a ping ward on the Baron now, so that's great. Cabochard can still
Trinity Force.
just basically sit back. I mean, if you also
Trinity
look,
Force Tiamat Shaco, by the way. Edward's been caught, he's been hooked, and he's gone.
if you look at the build though from Caboshot, he's building for team fights, but he's having to deal with Kikis. Like, look at the MR on him. That's not going to do anything against Kikis here in this situation. No Ninja Tabi or just pure armor stacking from him, so he can't do anything in the 101. Now, Unicorns, it's the Baron we mentioned a few times. Okay, you can hook everyone else, but apparently not the Baron.
It's the simplest shots that are the hardest to land. Flash is available for Diamond, as is Javelin. There is some opportunity. Caboshot is teleporting in for this one. Gambit, one last desperate play. Onslaught of Shadows, he's looking for Power of Evil, not into the pit. That's not going to be enough. Baron secured by the Unicorns of Love, and Vizichachi's on the wrong side of the wall. The rest of Unicorns trying to fight this one off, and Caboshot threw himself at Power of Evil and not into the Baron pit. I have to question that call, as UOL now have even more pushing power.
Dragon, Gambit is moving there. They don't have Caboshot. He's in the top lane here. Unicorn should be able to stop this one. Box even blocked.
Jack in the box.
TP coming in.
Well, let's see. Chachi's going to look for a target, and Kikis is going to look to kill him. Flame Chompers going to at least negate that route of approach, but look at the rest of Unicorns. Trying to come in from the river. They've bullied Gambit away with Baron buff and a 7k gold item lead. Will secure their third dragon of the game. Utterly uncontested.
And the worst part is, nothing is really going to change. Kikis is only going to get stronger and stronger in his split push. Vardax, he is left on his own though. I'm not sure why he was pushing up. Let's see if he can escape.
Well, we'll see. Let's have the mark on. He's going to carry on auto-attacking, put a lot of damage on Diamond. He's going to decide to turn it around, and he gets the kill. Vardax gets the kill and outplays Diamond.
It's not over yet,
Such
Trevor.
well played.
Noi is setting a trap for himself.
Oh, he's so much trouble. Not going to get the crits he's looking for. Face of the Mountain Shield from Hylissang will keep Vardax alive, and Vardax 3-1-4. With the Baron buff empowered minions in 30 seconds before Pinoy's back up. Unicorns barreling towards those inhibitor turrets.
And who do you name MVP here, Trevor? For me, Hylissang and Kikis have been just equally good. All 4 games, sorry, for them. They're gonna get inhibitor.
So difficult.
Down.
There's nothing to contest this. Unicorns of Love will lose a hallucinated clone as the only cost for another inhibitor. Power of Evil takes a big chunk from that Javelin toss, but it does not matter. Kikis, wow!
700 crit.
If you want to talk about style, Kikis is trying to finish this one. Betsy now unable to sit on the inhibitor turret thanks to the damage Kikis has put down. Inhibitor number 2 going to fall. Vizichachi got that vengeful maelstrom up. If anyone decides to jump in, that's a death sentence! And there's your MVP for me. Edward will follow. Caboshot trying to run amok in the back line. He will find Power of Evil, but it does not matter. Hylissang plus Kikis are carrying Unicorns of Love to the semi-finals in their debut split of the 2015 season. Unicorns advance to the top 4. Advance to do battle with SK Gaming in Madrid, Spain.
Yes!
Started dramatically.
It did.
It started with fantastic performance
Ended with a
from
Shaco.
Gambit. And ended with an unkilled 2-0-6 split pushing Shaco. What a series of games from the Unicorns of Love. They said they were better in best of 5s. They showed it, they proved it.
Yeah, for sure. Such a good series for them. And you look at the pick and ban phase. We were talking so much about, oh, Morgana, now you have to ban it away because Hylissang is playing so well. Well, he just got another champion where he can make the same plays, and he did. And also, you suddenly gave the Maokai over to Unicorns of Love, and they just changed up the pick and ban phase. They didn't have to go for this, super late game, long range poke composition. This was a lot more early to mid game, a lot more engaged focus, on this case more disengaged because of the Shaco with the split push. Great to see Gambit, though.
Yeah, fantastic.
Keeping it cool.
Fantastic to see their attitude. Big smiles across the board. And for a team like Gambit, they're still discovering themselves. They're still really growing. Not quite as impressively as Unicorns of Love, but this was a team with a battle with very similar styles between the two squads. And it was Unicorns of Love and their BO5 preference, their champion pools, their play style that they could alter.
Yeah.
They really do understand how to play around their team.
So now,
cards.
H2K won yesterday. Challenger team, new to the LCS, beat Copenhagen Wolves. Unicorns won today, beat Gambit.
Yep.
Also new to the LCS for the Unicorns here. Those new teams have come into the LCS and really done such a fantastic job adapting to how it is to play on stage down here. You know, you play every single week as well. That is very different if you used to just have more like random tournaments here and there, like every month and so on. Now you're playing every single week. You got to prepare for every single one. And now they're facing SK and Fnatic.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
It's going to be tough.
It's really interesting when you look at it as well, because SK would be the only quote-unquote old guard team. When you look at all their players, they've all been around for a long time. You look at Fnatic, 4 of their players were new to the LCS stage. They made it to semifinals as well. So 3 of the 4 teams is young blood, is teams that are challenging the old guard, that is challenging the established names for different reasons and in different ways. But it sets up our semifinals next week, which will be in the studio here. Then the following week will be in Spain. I got a little bit excited in the win moment, but we know the 4 teams that will be going to Spain. Unicorns will be attending in Madrid. Anyways, guys, we're going to hand down to stage where Pyrotechnics is standing by with Vardags and the man who we can thank for more Shaco in solo queue. I hate you, Kikis.
Thank you very much, Quickshot. Yes, of course, I am standing by here with 2 of the victorious Unicorns of Love, Vardags. Kikis, I'll get to you in a minute, but first of all, congratulations, guys, on making it into the semifinals. How does that feel? You're going to be facing off against SK Gaming.
I think for us, being our first time in the playoffs in LCS, it's just a huge relief to show that we're top 4 team in EU and that we can beat Gambit.
I'm glad you made that statement. I mean, really, let's go back to the beginning of the series, though, because you guys had a really rough time in Game 1. Talk me through what happened in that one. Let's go over to you, Kikis.
Well, the thing is that we picked Nautilus, who's just like pretty weak early game, and I started on the wrong side of the jungle. So they like to come top lane, and when you have Hecarim with no flash, no like ghost, and with Ignite he can like easily get camped, get gank, and really put him behind. So they get their top laner threat, their jungle threat, they just get like control all over the map. We tried our best to like come back. We did like some good plays still, but it was just overwhelming, their lead, and we lost.
So you weren't able to come back that game, but obviously we know what happened the next 3. Games 2 and 3, you guys just completely opposite, rolled over onto Gambit. How exactly did you adapt to the situation that was at hand there?
I think it's just our style. Like, we're very confident in best of 5, so we just calm down, we think about what went wrong and what we need to adapt to the situation. And we're like, okay, we need to change a few picks and we need to change something up to have a stronger early, and that's exactly what we managed to show.
Talk about change of picks, you know, going back to you, Kikis, because not only did we get to see the Udyr, which has not been seen here in Europe just yet until today, but we got to see Shaco for the first time in 2015. Do you have anything left in the tank? I mean, to face off against SK Gaming, are there any other champions you're going to play?
Yeah, I still have like few picks. I prepared a lot of them, and some of them are like more comfortable than the others. Like for example, Shaco. We practice it some in scrims, not more than other junglers, but enough to feel confident. Like it's really strong when enemies have no one to deal with me, and they're like all squishes. I can just jump on them, one-shot them, and Udyr is just, I think, really good in the meta because there are a lot of tanks with no high damage, no sustained DPS. So I have the shield every like few seconds, and I can like stun. I have a lot of damage to the squishes. I think it's a good champion overall at the moment.
Continuing to stay one step ahead of the meta. Definitely a way to take wins, but you guys are going to be up against a very, very tough opponent in SK Gaming next week. How confident are you in that matchup? Do you think you can beat SK?
Definitely. Like, we already played against them twice, and we are 1-1 so far. And I think with our win, we kind of show that we can beat SK, and I'm very confident that we can put up a good show.
All right, that's what I like to hear. Once again, gentlemen, congratulations on your win. Best of luck in the semifinals. And with that, we're going to head back to the analyst desk where they're going to break down that match.
Thank you very much, Pyrotechnics, joining us here. Our analysts we've had with us all day, as well as the Fisho and Trevor, to wrap up the day, not only the day, but the quarterfinals as well. Let's start by Well, looking back at the very last game of the series, because to me, Gambit didn't pick some bans what I thought the Unicorns of Love would do after game 1. They banned out Kog'Maw, Morgana, and Udyr, everything that they couldn't deal with, and it wasn't the right way to go.
Actually, this final game kind of showed what Unicorn of Love's plan was all along. Was to prioritize the Morgana. If it gets banned, just pick the Maokai, because it seems like Morgana is a great pick against Maokai, and Maokai is no longer the OP3 that we've been talking about all week.
Yeah, I really like that we had our thoughts like, oh my god, they're doing this. Like, why aren't they doing this? And it really showed that they did have a lot of thought behind their pick and ban. So when we're sitting here, like, you know, as analysts going, they should be picking that Maokai or banning it, it's like, no. They had it planned all along. They wanted to do this. They did lose that game 1, but I don't think it was purely because of picks and bans.
Yeah, for sure.
But that was the weird thing also, because in game 1, that was the only game where Gambit didn't make any clear mistakes. They got a good lead early on, and they kept just basically snowballing the game. In game 2, they had the same setup. They got 2 early towers down, and then they go for this tower dive 5 versus 5 at 12 minutes. Game 3, same setup again. They were ahead. They had the early lead. Gambit made some very important mistakes, or very, very big mistakes in these matches here, but Unicorns of Love just showed why you never want to face them in a best out of 5 when they pull out stuff like this and you don't know how to prepare against it, because you cannot expect every single pick in the game.
Yeah, exactly. And Leviathan in one of the clips was also like, no, you know, it doesn't matter what they will pull out because we can handle it. But this vastness of this champion pool, I don't think we've seen the edges of it yet. One thing I do want to talk about is the Shaco, of course, Shaco. We did hear Kikis talking about it, and he just goes, yeah, we don't practice it that much in scrims, but we do. I don't even know if I believe that. It just seems so incredibly risky.
The thing is, I agree with you, yes. I don't know how much they practice it, but what Unicorns do as a team, because they've got all of these guys that play such a plethora of champions, I feel like their out-of-game understanding of how to play around those champions is better than any team in the LCS, because they clearly decide, these are the unique picks we're going to run, this is how we play around this unique pick, and then they implement that in-game. You can either learn that through logging hours and hours and hours in scrims, or you have a team that can understand it and discuss it. So that when you go, I'm going to pull out Shaco in the game-deciding game, even if you've only played it 5 scrims before, the theory is sound, right? The theory is split push, don't die 4v4, and if you do, make it last long enough that Kickers can get towers.
One more thing about that, though, it seems that adaptability for them is something that we only see coming out in series when they qualified in here, because in their single games, the only thing we've ever said is they don't really know how to play their comp a lot of times.
It seems like it normally, and that's why they've been so inconsistent, because they would have these compositions where, let's say they had a mid-game spike, and they would get it, and then they would go back and farm the lanes, and just sit on a Corki with the Trinity Force 15 minutes in the bottom lane and do absolutely nothing. And that's weird, because then you see Unicorns now clearly know how to play these comps they had, and as you said before the game even started, Unicorns of Love are really good at punishing mistakes. It's all they did for the first 3 games, or 2 games, I guess we can say, the game 2 and game 3. And that's why they won the games, simply because they punished Gambit every single time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, and they did pull it out. And they had a lot of big plays today on the Rift. It was very hard to choose the most valuable player, and we actually had to discuss about it a fair bit, but we decided to give the MVP award for this series to Hylissang, because, as you said, he is able to pull out wins where they shouldn't be winning the lane, and his Morgana defined the pick and ban strategy for 3 games out of 4.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe 4.
Like, they basically predicted the Maokai first pick, which is, like, of course, it's going to come up there. And Morgana does super well in team fights against it. And also the fact that he is willing to pick Morgana blindly into the bot lane. And he just did so well in the lane phase against these Kalista picks and Urgot picks.
Yeah. Was fantastic, although, you know, you kind of want to give it to Kikis. He did fantastic as well, pulling out 2 new picks once again, but I think you guys can all agree that Hylissang was very good in this one as well.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say he was pretty insane, and he showed in the last game he doesn't even care about Morgana. He can just do exactly the same on another champion. Pinoy didn't have a fun day.
Definitely not. Same as yesterday's quarterfinal between, you know, looking at Ryu as maybe the secondary option, Kickers, just showing how good he can be. It is so many threats. When you look at how many jungle bans this series had, I fear for Svenskeren and what SK are going to do to contain this guy.
Yeah, absolutely. We can actually talk about that a little more in just a second. We do want to tune in with you guys, though, because you were all over Twitter with all the big plays that were happening in the crazy games. And we decided to take this tweet from @DestroyerLol. He wrote, "That Chachi ultimate. Mom, get the camera." This is your big play.
You have to think the execution is in favor. That's a flash forward. Betsy has found Kickers. There's no smite. There's a Chachi's he gets a double kill with the unstoppable. unstoppable. Is it through the wall as well? It is too.
It is. He smacks the wall and then the AoE.
Oh! I've never heard you make that noise before. Never. I've casted with you for a year
It's a
and 3
special
months
one.
now.
I save it
I've
for stuff
never
like
heard
this.
that noise.
Like, that was the best ulti I've ever seen from a Sion. And you also stop a Baron, and that's just insane.
It was the best ulti, but he hit a wall. That's where he ended up, and that Sion ulti got a double kill. It's a really funny best Sion ult is hitting a wall.
Yeah.
All planned.
All planned. The others' lives hit a wall as well. It was all planned out. Now, with the quarterfinals wrapped up here in Europe, we're going to check out the playoff bracket as we have played our quarterfinals. Unicorns of Love, they are locked in for the semifinals, as well as H2K. That means Unicorns of Love have also earned at least 30 championship points, and Gambit have earned 10 with a 5th place finish. And it means that our semifinal matches, as you can see there, the Unicorns of Love will be going up against SK Gaming, and Fnatic will face off against H2K. And all those teams will be going to Madrid, because also the 3rd place match will be going on there as well. This is the EU Challenger Playoffs bracket. Well, you will also see the finals there Wednesday in the studio as Origin takes on the Lowland Lions.
A lot of games.
A lot of games, but we got to touch on the semifinal matchups, Unicorns of Love versus SK Gaming. So, before this series, the Unicorns of Love had a win rate of 67% against teams above them. If we count all the games as individuals, now they have a 70% win rate versus teams that are above them. All the teams they are going to face are above them, so they have 70% chance of winning the playoffs.
That's it. We don't even have to play them now.
Yep.
You've got the math.
There we go.
How do you argue with
Super
that?
sound.
All right, so if we look past the whole 70% teams above you, best out of 5, Unicorns of Love, on paper, SK is better in nearly every single role, in my opinion at least. The thing is just you don't know what you're going to be playing against, and that's the trick. SK Gaming has shown before that they don't always know how to adapt really quickly. They had problems at IEM where there was some new stuff happening. That can be the way for Unicorns to win that matchup, but I think if it's standard versus standard, SK is going to take it.
Jacob.
I will actually say if I can just imagine SK having the same picks as Gambit had today, and I just can imagine them doing a lot better, because Gambit were doing a lot of rotational mistakes, map mistakes, overextending a lot, taking fights where they shouldn't. And SK Gaming, they don't do those mistakes. Like, if you just take a comp that is not one-dimensional, you won't get cheese in any way. I'm pretty sure SK Gaming are going to take this home.
Yeah, I mean, I think what UOL did really well is they kind of preyed on Gambit's confidence. And you saw how Gambit changed their pick and ban, and UOL didn't like stutter at all. They did the same bans, and they were very happy with it. So I think it's SK, they're going to be pushing the hell out of those lanes, and I don't think they're going to show any lack of confidence, and I don't think that's where UOL is going to be able to take advantage of.
The only thing I have to add is that this semi-final between SK and UOL is actually quite a big stylistic difference. SK's Mr. Consistent as far as team goes. They're not the most dynamic. They're relatively similar in their play style, but they don't make many mistakes. Unicorns, on the other hand, they're way more diverse. They can surprise way more, but that also brings with it a wealth of inconsistency, as we've seen from the best of ones. So it's going to be interesting to see which style is stronger.
Yeah, the semifinals will come up here next weekend. And remember, you saw the bracket there flash, but the Challenger finals will be going on right here in the studio on Wednesday as well. We'll all be there and be helped by Sheepy as well. So go get your tickets and come watch. That does it for us, though, here in Europe. A special thanks to all of our guests for joining us this weekend. And now it's time for the teams in North America to take it to the Rift. Let's check in across the pond in Los Angeles, California, where the fans are lined up and they are pumped up for the second quarterfinal of the day. Yeah, they're always hyped up there. Maybe, hopefully for them, it's not a quick 3-0 as it was yesterday, as the Fischer is looking absolutely dapper. And before we kick it over to NA Dapper for Impulse versus Gravity, let's look back at today's European LCS action.
Whatever cheese they pull out, it better be some really good Gouda, because I don't think that anything they can pull out is really going to scare us.
Well, this matchup, impossible to predict.
Oh, Diamond gets the knockup. That's another kill. Diamond is under attack from the tower, though. His kickers will be the next focus. Another knockup. A few more hits should do it. The minions and one more slam.
He can also
He's going to join the pot. That's a flash feast. Did you see a TP coming in from Cabashot right behind Unicorns of Love? Pizachachi forced to onslaught away as a defensive play, and he is down.
Gotcha, bro.
Okay, this is good, guys.
Nice.
Keep up. Give it up.
A near flawlessly executed game, one in their best of 5.
If they go for a similar team comp, just have in mind that their siege is awful.
Do it! Do it!
He's going in!
He's going in! Flash! Bear! Slap! Finding Pinoy is down! Power of Evil is trying to get through the members of Gamma Kickers, now out of mana.
I got him! Get him! I have my Cinder. much mana for this? That's a flash, just kill it.
Then he slapped Betsy, dodges the rupture. Betsy goes down. All of a sudden, Bardax is excited. The Unicorns of Love close this game out in definitive style.
Let's focus, guys.
Alright, just win that game.
Just play our best.
We don't have
It's
exhaust, by
our
the way.
first game.
Good luck, guys. Alex shot power, just talk your level 11 power spike through.
I got her. I got both.
Nice.
What's up, boys?
Chachi's onto Pinoy. Pinoy will be the next pick. No! The rocket misses! It doesn't connect. It's a double kill. Edward continues to chase as Pinoy is hammering through. He's got the Bloodthirster lifesteal, but he gets popped. Betsy has found Kickers. There's no smite. There's a Chachi going. He gets a double kill with the unstoppable. The rest of Unicorns of Love take down the Nexus and go 2-1.
What are we going here for? Do you want the Shaker game?
Yeah, I think it's Shaker game. Every stream we won with Shaker. Like, I get feds somehow anyway. Like, I'm gonna get like 1 kill, I'm just gonna farm, it doesn't matter.
Let's see what Kickers can do on him. The exhaust is already used.
Cabashard's in trouble. He's going to get taken down. First blood to the Unicorns of Love. Zap will connect onto Chachi, as will the Dredge line. And he manages to lantern away. The death sentence connects, and they turn it around. Maelstrom up if anyone decides to jump in. That's a death sentence, and there's your MVP for me. Edward will follow. Cabashard trying to run amok in the back line. He will find Power of Evil, but it does not matter. Hillesang plus Kickers are carrying Unicorns of Love to the semi-finals in their debut split of the 2015 season. Unicorns advance to the top 4. Advance to do battle with SK Gaming in